Hey, everybody. Monique Renee here with the Fierce and Flowing podcast. And this is our first planting seeds short session. So I'm going to come on here at least once a month, and it's just going to be moi sharing some wisdom, some insight, things that I'm thinking about that can really support all of us in showing up stronger, more on purpose, more fierce, and definitely more in flow. And so I'm recording this on the summer solstice, the first day of summer. And that had me thinking about, slowing down a little bit, really focusing on the idea of slowing down to speed up, right? All of us who are go-getters, entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives in the corporate world, we're always on the go, moving super, super fast. And productivity is on our mind, right? But so is finding balance, being able to be super successful, but in a very meaningful and intentional way. And so I thought today, let's talk about, three simple ways that you can cultivate this idea of slowing down to speed up. Okay. And since it is the summer solstice, I wanted to talk about using that energy, right? And I'm going to talk about the energy out there, in the universe today and how it can support us. Some of you may know that in addition to being a coach and a trainer, I'm also an astrologer. And I use astrology, the wisdom of astrology, to really support how we flow and how we are unique, really, in being able to design our own flow based on our strengths, based on our talents, based on where those planets were located when we were born. Okay, we're all very unique and different. And so with that, let's go ahead and start with, the first simple concept of being more productive, through slowing down. Okay. And isn't that what summer is all about? Today's the solstice. Summer is the season where we allow ourselves to kind of relax a little bit more, take the pedal off the metal, enjoy life, enjoy the sunshine, do activities outside, rest and replenish our energy. And so for me, it's important to do just that, right? And find these moments in our days, perhaps over the weekend, where we slow down enough to tune in. Okay. And why is tuning in important? Tuning in is super important because as leaders, reflection is critical to keep us on track and to also keep us in tune with our priorities, right? With what we want to achieve so that we don't get caught up in that rat race. Okay. We're all going a mile a minute all the time. And sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in that energy of let me do what everybody else is doing. Why are they going faster and I'm not where they are, right? So being able to slow down to really tune in and remind ourselves of what we are all about, what we want to accomplish, what are those big rocks that are really driving us to move forward so that we can get to that place of sacred success, right? However, each of us defines it. Now, right now, we've got four planets in retrograde, actually three. Venus is going to be going retrograde in July. Okay. But right now we've got Neptune in retrograde, we've got Saturn in retrograde, and we have Pluto in retrograde. Okay. And these planets really want us disciplined, to be disciplined about our life's purpose, about how we flow through life. What is that big spiritual meaning that we are connecting with? Okay. And when planets are in retrograde, they want us to reflect, to recalibrate, to reset, to rest as well. Okay. And so now some of you may be feeling that energy already where you're like, I need to slow down a little bit. Okay. So it is an appropriate time to step back and do that tuning in and reflecting exercise to align with your who who you are here to be, what what you're here to do, what impact to make, okay? And what's really most important, okay? Taking away all the rest of the noise that can show up in our lives, okay? And so that's number one, the tuning in. Right now is a great time because of the summer, the beginning of summer, and also these planets in retrograde. When Venus goes into retrograde in July, that's going to take us even deeper into our life's meaning. Okay, what are our values? You know, what do we really want to experience and enjoy in this life? What keeps us grounded? What keeps us feeling safe and secure, you know, building a life of our deepest desires. Okay, so this theme is going to continue for a little bit. Point number two that I want to make is not jumping onto every bandwagon that shows up. Okay, instead focusing on our natural talents and our strengths. Okay, and so an example that I want to give, which I may get some backlash on, is AI. Okay, this is like taking over everything, right? I'm hearing it in every article, every podcast. Everyone's out there, you know, sharing how to use AI, encouraging us to um, you know, set up these bots that become another us, right? A duplicate of us, and creates our blogs for us, creates our podcasts for us, all of our communication. And while I can see the value in AI, and I think it's really important, you know, that we pay attention to all of the new technology and really see the benefits of it, it's also really important to not get all consumed in it. Okay. Um, and I want to tie this back to our strengths. Okay. Because we are each unique. We're born very, very uniquely. And if you take yourself back to your childhood, you can probably remember those things that you did naturally that nobody had to tell you to do. You would just jump in and do them. Okay. For me, it was all about exploring, you know, and expressing myself. And I did that in many ways, through singing, through dancing, through acting, and getting on my bicycle and just exploring the neighborhoods. I was very creative, and I still am. The thing is that who we were as a child, we still have those natural talents, but they evolve into different ways, and different things as an adult, right? And so, what are your talents? What are your strengths? What do you love to do with your time if nobody told you you had to do certain things? Okay. And and so for me, communicating is something I'm a natural at, and I'm always wanting to communicate, whether it's like what I'm doing right now, or teaching a class, which is part of what I do in my everyday job. These are things that I enjoy. These are things that build energy for me. And so when a friend of mine sent me this information about AI that said, "Hey, you can use this tool to create, you know, an image of yourself, and it captures your voice. So you speak to it and it captures your voice. And then you can use this link and go type in a topic and have AI build your talk, build your blog, link the two together." All of a sudden, there's a fake me online with my voice, and another aspect of this fake me saying certain things that perhaps I wouldn't be saying if I was speaking it myself, thinking about it myself, typing it myself, right? And so for me, someone like me who has natural strengths in ideation and creativity and in speaking and communicating, it's uncomfortable for me to just give it all over to AI. Now, I've used AI to help me come up with titles of talks, of blogs, and maybe just ideas of how I can communicate a certain idea. But having it take over completely and automate, for me it's like it's taking my soul, right? So I just want to plant that seed for you, and using AI is just an example. You know, where are you jumping on a bandwagon just so you can go faster to get to where you want to go quicker because you feel like you're in competition with the world? If that shows up for you, I would love for you to consider how you can change that thought, okay, and create a new empowering thought that doesn't suck the soul away from you, okay, but instead reminds you of your uniqueness and what you're here to do. okay? And actually encourage you to go do those things that are natural for you, that build up your energy and keep you engaged in life, in your work, okay, and in the world. So that's my second tip to actually be more productive is do more of those things more often that you're naturally talented at, instead of trying to do what everybody else is doing and getting sucked away by all of these popular things that of course we want to pay attention to but not get succumbed by. Okay. And then the third thing that I want to talk to you today about, in line with being productive, is this concept of being intentional and focused. And I remember, this is a personal story. One day I was just kind of organizing my to-do list, and I was with my stepfather, who's, a retired but very successful, former CEO of a global company. And he looked at my to-do list and he said, "How many things do you think you want to do today?" Why? Why would you do that to yourself? What are the top two, three things that you want to really focus on that are going to help you feel successful and are also aligned with that purpose, with that intention, with the impact you want to make in your life, right? Sacred success. And since that day, I've been very intentional about focusing, really trying to focus and not be scattered and not try to do a million things, but maybe do three things really, really well. Okay. And again, this goes back to not rushing yourself. Okay. Because isn't it better to do three things extraordinarily well than 10 things really rushed and mediocre? Okay. So think about that. So a strategy for slowing down to speed up is taking a few minutes in the morning before you get going, or maybe in the evening before you go to bed at night, and really think about the next day. First of all, do you have a million meetings? Because if you've got a million meetings and other ways that you're taking up your time, it's going to be really hard to do anything else, right? So take a look at your day. What are you planning for that day? And what else can you realistically fit in? And if it's only one thing, if it's only two things, think of those things that again align with your purpose, okay? And that are going to help you to not only be successful, get those really important, urgent things done, but that are going to make you feel successful at the end of the day. Okay. Because it is important to achieve. It is important to feel like winners in our lives. But again, we get to define what winning means. And we don't get to give that away to others and have them measure, how we see ourselves as successful. So with that, I hope that this little seed that I've planted today is going to get you thinking, okay, about making the space to tune in, especially now in the summer and during all of these retrogrades where we are really given permission to find a little more balance, slow down a little bit more, and tune in, right? Really think about our thoughts. Are our thoughts helping us or hurting us? Okay. Our emotions, are they in line with what we want to achieve? And if not, how can we get them in alignment so we can have that energy to move forward? Okay. Where are we jumping on a bandwagon where we can really step off of it and be more aligned with our talents and our strengths and those things that light us up? Okay. And finally, making space to plan for very intentional and focused days and work. All right. So that is my seed that I'm planting with you today. And I hope you'll leave me a comment and let's continue this conversation. And I'll see you next week for another fierce conversation. Take care.